Periscope, always the first to hop online. Oh, also always the first to drop. It's crazy. What's up, everybody on Facebook, D Live, YouTube, Twitch is going to connect shortly, I think. And of course, TalkStream Live and JLP Live. Nice. Thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson hosting the show. Very nice. It is Thursday, November 12th, 2020, and the election is still not over. Nice. I love how President Trump is fighting, and there's a lot of people also fighting. Very cool. Encouraging, right? Because the soul of our country is at stake. I'm imitating Joe Biden because I have some nice flashback clips to the beginning of where he announced that he's running for president, and it's all based on just complete lies. Totally evil person, hates white people, hates Christians, but yet he made some gains with the fake Christians because so many Christians are fake now. Well, what a shame. By the way, Joe Biden is against the wall. Against the wall. He would stop construction of the wall. I bet you that he would even try to tear it down if he were to win. We'll see what happens. Don't know. I have some other flashbacks on the late, not great RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was in love, or should I say lust, with the ACLU. Disgusting. Shameful. Get the shirt. You don't have to get it in that bright color that I wear. By the way, I am wearing my I Love Boomers t-shirt. Gotta love the boomers. Some of you guys thought that the M was an N. No, it's an M. Boomers. No, I don't have any of his gaffe compilations. That would be like an hour long or 2 hours or 5 hours. I have some, I mentioned yesterday that I have some evil women to talk about. Phony people. Actually, a male as well. Female-minded male, too. And I mentioned 2 days ago that I was going to touch on Drudge. I found out some information. I did some deep digging. Meaning I Googled it and went on Wikipedia. Shameful. Such a shame. I know, it's bad. Dead people voting over the years. I have a little bit of information. I did just a quick search and found some information that might be interesting to you. And I forgot to tell you, the USPS guy, U.S. Postal Service whistleblower, of which actually there's multiple whistleblowers, at least 2 by name. And then one of them was on Project Veritas. They tried to say, oh, he recanted his claims. He admits to fabricating it. No, I don't believe that's the case. But they're quick to say that, quick to claim it. It's ridiculous. But I have some information. We mentioned it on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, too. They're punishing him. Punishing him. You know how they complain, oh, the cops, it's a thin... They don't call it a thin blue line. They call it the wall of silence. They protect themselves when one person does wrong. Well, this guy's a whistleblower, and he's not getting paid leave because he's going against the liberal narrative and exposing corruption inside of the USPS. They're attacking him, taking away his pay and all that stuff. It's ridiculous. And that and your calls, 888-775-3773. I have some interesting calls lined up for you as well, and you can call in too. But anyway, let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how's it going, everybody? You can call in 888-775-3773. I have many people to talk to. An illegal immigration call, more election madness stuff. It's ridiculous, but quickly. I just want to present some information that I found out that I don't believe is false. About this COVID hype, you know how they've been saying masks. Well, I don't know if you're aware of it, but I was aware of this, and I would jump on people for saying, "Oh, you're supposed to wear a mask to protect yourself," because they've been telling us that masks don't protect you from others as much as it protects others from you. With this COVID thing, you know, this Chinese/communist virus over which they're shutting down the country and killing businesses and just power grab. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Well, they're saying that according to the CDC, masks protect both the wearers and those nearby from this Chinese Communist Party / ridiculous globalist virus. This is from the Epoch Times. I was pronouncing it epic, but I've heard it pronounced epoch. But it's not supposed to be pronounced epoch unless you're British or stubborn, which is cool, or ignorant, which is also fine too. But just FYI, epoch. But the Epoch Times, also referencing Reuters, which is a far left enemy of America, but Epoch Times likes America, and they don't like communism, and they try to be sane. Okay, so this is what they're reporting, and it's just basically passing along information from the CDC, which the CDC is part of HHS, and HHS is a government bureaucracy full of Trump haters, liberals, Hillary supporters, and scum of the earth, right? But maybe some of what they say is true, right? Maybe. They said that multi-layer cloth masks act as source control to block release of exhaled respiratory particles, which sounds disgusting, right? But it's true. I just look at my screen after several days of talking, and indeed, there's evidence of particles. Anyway, whatever. Or they call them droplets, which is even worse, but it's true, I think. I spit when I talk. I spit when I rap. Saliva flies when I sing. Does anybody know what that reference is? Never mind. But it also provides filtration for personal protection, supposedly, by blocking virus particles from others. The report cites several studies that, and you know what, I was thinking about this. I know some, not all, but I know one Colombian who gets in your personal space. And some of these foreigner people, they get into your personal space. Have you ever noticed that? People just stand like really close. I think Joe Biden does that too. And he's not a foreigner, although I wish he were. Joe Biden gets into people's personal space too. It's ridiculous. And that is a cause of spreading germs. It's no wonder some of those countries have problems. Well, our country has problems too because a lot of us have bad health habits. Fat, etc. Out of shape, not good. Spoiled, stuff like that. It's bad for your health. But anyway, the report cites several studies that show the risk of becoming infected or spreading the Chinese Communist Party / globalist Democrat virus, and rhino, let's be honest, reduces by more than 70% in some cases. Who knows? The far-left CDC references a study that found that mutual mask use helped prevent 2 COVID-positive hairstylists from spreading the disease to 67 of their clients. Interesting, huh? So they had COVID and they went to work and they, I don't know if they were actually showing signs of sickness, you know, because you can have the germs and not have any problems, which means you're less catching, honestly. You're less contagious when you're not showing it. Nice. Another study cited by the extremist anti-Trump CDC found that infected individuals did not spread the virus to other passengers on a plane when they wore masks. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. You know, planes, it's like a common saying that you get on a plane, you're going to get germs from people. Coughing, sneezing, being nasty, get into people's personal space. Crazy. In other instances, infections and deaths substantially dropped when officials instructed people to wear masks, the CDC claimed, right? I don't know. I can't imagine going to a family function and everybody's wearing masks. I would just have to just go away. I don't want to see my family like that. I saw ridiculous, and I didn't get the clip, but I saw this ridiculous clip of a Nebraska so-called family. Probably female-headed. I have to hope that it is, but maybe it's male. But they set up this PVC framing contraption thing. I wonder if Nick grabbed the clip, but I don't know if Nick has seen it. Maybe you retweeted it, or Jesse Lee Peterson may have. You can grab it. Yeah, if you want to, grab it, and I'll play it later. This show, but it has this big plastic see-through curtain of sorts with like those those cleaning gloves that lunch ladies wear, or they're not exactly cleaning gloves. They're like plastic mitten type gloves where you can put your thumb in and your 4 fingers in, and it's like a long thing. I don't know if Asians do that. No, these were white. This was a white so-called family. And so they had this curtain with these arm holes in it that you could stick your hands in, and it's actually gloves or mittens, plastic mittens. And then it let the grandparents go hug the children. And it looked so ridiculous. Oh, I know who retweeted it. It was Cernovich, Mike Cernovich, who's a journalist, center-left guy, activist. Okay with Trump, generally. But he said, Black Mirror is real life or something like that. I don't know what that is. I think it's a reference to some weird kind of apocalyptic TV show. But it's so silly. One, you don't need to hug your grandchildren. Or grandparents. I do love boomers, but come on. And second, the kids are going to, and they take turns too. So the kids are going to leave their germs in the gloves, and then their siblings are going to leave the kids in the germs in the gloves. And it's just gross and weird, nasty. But adopting universal masking policies can help avert future lockdowns, said the agency. Yeah, right. Not when you vote for Democrats and female rhinos that they're shutting down. Because they're going to do masks and shutdowns. You notice that? Especially if combined with other non-pharmaceutical interventions such as social distancing, which used to be just called give people personal space, hand hygiene, wash your hands, adequate ventilation, get outside. Get outside. They say indoors is worse for you. And yet this Tony Evers guy, the guy who kissed up to the idea that blacks are victims of racism when they're perpetrators, really, he instituted stay in your house orders or advice to people. Stay in your house, but outdoors is better for you. It's crazy. Meanwhile, Japanese researchers at University of Tokyo last month said masks can offer some protection, but it's really not clear how much that it actually helps. I think it helps a little. I don't like it. I don't trust it. I think it's silly, but I'll play along since everybody else looks stupid too, especially since like businesses are saying, hey, you have to wear a mask, otherwise it's going to get shut down. All right, I guess. And our engineer, Bill, who is admittedly, he's a baltard, you know, he believes evolution happened. I think he believes in creation too. I think he believes in God. He might even think that climate change is real to a certain extent. But he indicated that he sports masks. He talked about how some Asian country or location, they all did the mask thing and got stuff under control. But I mean, this thing is a virus. This thing is called a virus because it goes viral. You know what viral videos mean? They spread everywhere. That's why it's called viral. And this is a virus. It's supposed to spread. Ridiculous. Anyway, before I get to calls, I gotta show you guys. Joe Biden is evil. Just a quick flashback. Biden, this is a Drudge headline. Biden to halt the border wall. If he wins, that is. Ridiculous. Biden hates America. And he hates whites. He hates everybody. He's a phony person. Remember, he said, oh, they're gonna put y'all back in chains. That's an indication that he hates blacks. He has no respect for anybody. So I have a quick reminder from 2015. He met with a bunch of phony world leader types, right? And it was supposedly to combat violent extremism, meaning this was at the height of ISIS. ISIS was out of control because this was during the Obama administration. Joe Biden was Barack Obama's vice president. Couple of phony people, right? Ridiculous. And I got this from a YouTube channel called Funny Democrats. It's a C-SPAN video. They clipped it. And I'd seen it from, alt-right types had shared it. And they're right for sharing this. It's a flashback from 2015. I think it's clip 11. Joe Biden wants an unrelenting stream of immigration. And I've quoted it or paraphrased this before. Listen to this scumbag.
Not only our Muslim communities, but African communities, Asian communities, Hispanic communities, and the wave still continues. It's not going to stop, nor should we want it to stop. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things I think we can be most proud of. So there's a second thing in that black box, an unrelenting stream of immigration, nonstop. Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America, from then and on, will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
What a sicko, huh? What a sicko. Nothing about morals. It's just diversity is our strength. And bringing in all diverse people of evil and ushering in all kinds of evil. He was the one, by the way, he came out in support of so-called same-sex marriage before Barack Obama finally quit lying and said, oh, actually, he didn't quit lying. He lied before Obama lied and said, oh, I only just now evolved into supporting so-called same-sex marriage. Because remember, some of you may not remember, but he said he evolved. Because a whole lot of dumb, fake Christian parents will evolve after a child or a friend, or especially when the woman is running the home kind of behind the scenes. They'll evolve into being all supportive of it. A whole lot of people, get brainwashed and traumatized. They're emotional rather than logical. And so you'll often hear, if you oppose same-sex marriage, you'll hear your friends might say or whatever, how many gay people do you know? As if knowing them will make it right. It's kind of like, oh, I know a ton of illegals, but they should still be shipped back. They're nice, but what's right is right. It doesn't change, right? That's logic. I guess it's a female should even agree with that. I have so many black friends. Yeah, some people, like whites who get with black so-called girlfriends or boyfriends, they'll start simping for the blacks. It's funny because you turn worse. You don't turn, the other person doesn't turn better because you're evil too. You're weak. You know, people are weak. They never start, the blacks who get with whites never start, oh, we need to start protecting white people. They're under attack. Nuh-uh. It's ridiculous. So here's another quick, well, it's not that quick. It's 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. And then I will get to calls. Appreciate you guys hanging on. Here is Joe Biden's announcement for running for president, which I think it came out in April of, I don't know, last year? Had to be last year, a year and a half ago or something like that. This video is from Joe Biden YouTube channel, and the title of it is funny. Joe Biden for president. Listen, this is the funny part. America is an idea. That's what his title of this video is. Wow, blatant hatred for America and white people and Christians. And the description reads, it's time for respected leadership on the world stage and dignified leadership at home. Joe Biden has no dignity, and he's not respected. It's time for equal opportunity, equal rights, and equal justice, liar. It's time for economy that rewards those who actually do the work. That's a socialist, communist dog whistle, FYI. Anti-American. It is time for a president who will stand up for all of us, he says, which is so silly because he's in this video. You're going to see him not standing up for the whites or the Christians or anybody. And he's really not standing up for the blacks either or the immigrants. Here is a big chunk of the excerpt of his fake campaign announcement. It's so silly. And it references Charlottesville, which, complete liar. Let's check it out.
Charlottesville, Virginia, is home to the author of one of the great documents in human history. We know it by heart. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. We've heard it so often, it's almost a cliche, but it's who we are. We haven't always lived up to these ideals. Jefferson himself didn't, but we have never before walked away from them. Charlottesville is also home to a defining moment for this nation in the last few years.
Nice.
It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open.
Literally not true.
Their crazed faces, illuminated by torches, veins bulging, and bearing the fangs of racism, chanting the same anti-Semitic bile heard across Europe in the 30s. And they were met by a courageous group of Americans. And a violent clash ensued.
Hey!
And a brave young woman lost her life. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides.
True.
Very fine people on both sides?
Actually, it's being kind to the left.
Those words, the President of the United States assigned a moral equivalence between those spreading hate and those with the courage to stand against it. And in that moment, I knew the threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime. I wrote at the time that we're in the battle for the soul of this nation.
What a phony.
Well, that's even more true today. We are in the battle for the soul of this nation. I believe history will look back on 4 years of this president and all he embraces as an aberrant moment in time.
I hope not.
But if we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation.
Yes.
Who we are. And I cannot stand by and watch that happen.
Look at his weird, confused face. What a sicko, huh? And he repeated that line in the debates. It was so silly. Their veins bulging. I hadn't caught that line about the bearing the fangs of racism. And he talked about that brave young woman, I think Heather Heyer, right? I don't know if she was brave. She was foolish. And she got killed. And it was violence on many sides, Trump was the only one out of all of the so-called government officials, all of the mainstream media, and in general, to tell the truth about that situation. What about the alt-left, he said. And when are we going to stop taking down these monuments? When is it going to stop? They're going to take George Washington down and Thomas Jefferson. Oh, by the way, I didn't remember hearing it just now, but I remember hearing it when I was grabbing the clip. He said, Thomas Jefferson didn't live up to that ideal, meaning like we were all men are created equal, whatever that even means. Whatever that even means. He probably didn't mean it like how these people are twisting it. Right? All men are created equal. And now you hear the females saying, men and women are equal beings under God. Stupid. It's all resentment that he's feeding. And hatred, jealousy, envy. It's crazy. So that's a sicko. I have some details from Drudge, right? And I still look at it a little bit. Drudge and Politico, which is a far left outlet, on how Joe swung the religious vote because he got a little bit more of the dumb liberal Christians than usual, right? And weak ones, because there's a whole lot of phony, weak Christians who they don't like Trump's personality or whatever. I almost want to say that G word that ends in AY. It's ridiculous. It's so silly. But, you know, for a long time, men have been on the decline. I mean, I saw it even in the church that I was going to back in the 90s. The women were basically running the show, except a couple of men were up front a little bit. And that was a conservative Christian, like real Christian, I think, church. And so the weakness has been rotting America from within for a long time. Thank you again to Jesse Lee Peterson, hosting the Hake Report on D-Live. I was talking about allowing me to use the studio earlier this stream. Silosopher with the diamond and the gifted subscriptions. Congrats, new subscribers and resubscribers. That's cool. Thank you again to Noah's Ark, Kansas for the constant support. Appreciate that. And all you guys over on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. But I want to get to Chris in El Paso, Texas. Chris has been on hold forever. He wants to talk about illegal immigration in El Paso, which I wouldn't be surprised, because that's, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but that's right across from Juarez.
Yeah.
With a capital War. Well, Juarez is spelled Juarez, but anyway. So how's it going, Chris?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
I'm fine as well. It's good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, too. So right now I'm actually I'm active duty in the military. I'm in the field right now, but I have some downtime.
Yeah.
So I'm in my truck right now, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and call.
Nice.
Give me a couple thoughts. So I know a lot of doctor friends here in El Paso, and they all told me that they've seen illegal immigrants being brought in from vans, trucks, to hospitals so that they can be helped with COVID or whatever.
Wow.
And I don't know how true this is because I haven't seen it myself.
Okay.
But I wouldn't put it past it.
Yeah.
And, they're saying that they're using it to get the numbers up so we can keep the people locked down.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know how true it is, but that sounds crazy to me. Don't you think?
It does sound crazy, but hospitals, kind of like public schools and all that, are, I think, sort of corrupt institutions because they get more heads, more money, I would think that
Yep,
they get
exactly.
some federal or state or even local funding and subsidies, for the number of people who are in there, especially in COVID times. Never let a crisis go to waste. People are rubbing their hands.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, think about El Paso is highly Hispanic, right? Same
That's
thing
right.
down in Puerto Rico. There was people
Yep.
taking advantage of that Hurricane Maria, I think, struck.
Yep.
And they were so incompetent and corrupt that they lost track of a whole warehouse full of supplies that could have gone to help the people. But because they're
Oh,
so
my
either
God.
corrupt or incompetent, which is the same thing,
Yep.
they people were mad about that too. So I would
don't
not be
understand.
surprised. I mean, it's basically open borders. El Paso isn't Beto O'Rourke from that area?
Yep.
Yeah. And there's some other, I think a female Democrat POC person, WOC, right?
But what I don't understand is that we have a Republican mayor, so I would think he'd be trying to shut that down. But
Interesting.
I guess it is what it is.
Well, if it's a kind of a divided city, it would be tough for a Republican to do something, and he might be a rhino, Who knows?
That's true too.
Yeah.
Or was he doing this to get to get votes? I'm not sure. But even though that I haven't seen it for myself,
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning toward that it may be true because why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Why wouldn't they do it? And so I also want to talk to you about this Democrat from West Virginia, Senator Joe Manchin, I think it's his name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's the one who considers himself a pro-life Democrat or something like that.
Yeah, he calls himself a conservative Democrat.
Yeah. I don't know why he's
So-
even a Democrat, but I guess because
Yeah,
he is really a Democrat. Yeah.
So he was saying that if the Democrats was to rule the Senate, he would not be for packing the courts. He's not going to be against. He would be against defunding the police. Like you said, he's pro-life, and I'm just like, wow, that's funny how you have a Democrat that's saying that, but then you have all these other Republicans that's totally against it. That's being more Democrat than a Democrat.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me. What happened?
I don't know. Where is he from again? Joe Manchin.
West Virginia.
Okay. So that's kind of the South, maybe a little bit more traditional. A lot of old school Democrats are actually traditional, sane people. You know how they like to smear the Democrats of old who were supposedly like pro-slavery and all that stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the Democrat Party today, the mainstream Democrat Party, is worse than it's ever been. They're pure evil.
100%.
Yeah. And so maybe he's just kind of a holdover. He doesn't seem that old to me, but maybe he's a holdover from the more traditional Democrat times that may have actually loved America. I don't know. So that guy, I don't think he voted for impeachment. I may be wrong.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Yep.
And I had one more comment, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So I wanted to know if black people want to get reparations from whites in America, will they be getting reparations from the Indians in America too? Because the American Indians had slaves as well.
It's a good question. Yeah. I heard the Trail of Tears. There's a young man named Spoiler Alert who used to really mod my our channels really well, but he's working or something or going to school. And he said in the Trail of Tears, where the American Indians were forced to relocate or whatever, or allowed to relocate, they were allowed to take their slaves with them, their black slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a lot of American Indians don't like talking about it. Just people in general in America don't like talking about it. But American Indians had a lot of slaves too. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the way of life back then.
Yeah, and
However, it has, yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say, however, it has nothing to do with today. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a black male living in America right now. I'm in the United States Army. I'm a staff sergeant. I'm over white men, quote unquote, if that's what you want to say.
Right.
So I'm just looking over how is it that there's systemic racism, but I'm over white people, and I'm doing well. I live in a nice neighborhood with all races around me. It's
Yeah.
like when it comes to reality, you don't see it.
Right.
But over the social media, over the news, on TV, like that's all you see. But reality it's not there at all.
Yeah.
It's literally dead. So I don't understand how people are even believing this. All you have to do is look out, open your door to your house.
Right.
Look outside. You're not going to see it.
Yeah. You know,
Period. So,
well, go on.
no, I'm done. Go ahead.
The academics who are pushing this stuff, they don't live in reality. Neither do the media. The mainstream media, they have this hatred for honest people. Trump supporters, Christians, whites, normal blacks who don't agree with this SJW stuff. They hate the SJWs too. They're blind and they're pushing stuff, and actually they're trying to bring it into reality. They love it when on the rare occasion that a white guy goes crazy or a white gal goes crazy and like freaks out around POCs, you know, like when a white woman says the N-word outside some store, or when a white male shoots up a church or whatever. They love that because they can push their fake thing. This Charlottesville thing, they successfully lied and pushed a lie, and it was a blatant lie. Anybody there were independent journalists there, such as Ford Fisher and others, over in Charlottesville in August 2017, and he told the truth that it was primarily Antifa, Black Lives Matter attacking people. And it's so funny. Joe Biden said, just a quick note, Joe Biden said that the brave American people were fighting against it. And in all honesty, these were people who hate America. Antifa hates America. Black Lives Matter hates America. The blacks who are resentful of the Confederate monuments, they have a resentment that blinds them to how good they have it, you know? And it's so
100%.
backwards today. You mentioned reparations. Nowadays, Mike Brown's family or Breonna Taylor's family, so-called family, they don't even really have together decent families. They do wrong. They get killed for having done wrong or associated with the wrong people, whatever.
And get millions.
And they get millions of dollars, exactly, when in reality, like, their families should be paying the city or the people, the businesses, for all of the destruction that has been done in their names, you know, in their...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
What a shame.
it's a terrible day. I was looking up how Joe Biden sits there and he literally says what he's going to do, and he literally does the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I'm just saying that because people today, they don't really see. Like, they're seeing with their eyes, but they don't really know what's going on. They don't see the bigger picture. This Antifa people, they're sitting up here talking about how they're fighting for America, but in reality, they're just a lot of regretful or feel sorry for me white people. No, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for black people, type white people that's destroying America. You know, a lot of them are in debt. A lot of them went to college and had these, degrees that nobody wants to do, like, science of air. Like, you're not going to find that job anywhere.
Yeah.
And they're getting like $100,000 of debt. So now they're mad at America because they feel like they're smart and they should be able to, get money for that. They shouldn't be in debt. So they rebel against America. Then you have Black Lives Matter, who's really victims of America, but they act like they're for Black lives. But really, they're just victims. It's only because they're making bad decisions like having babies out of wedlock, not taking care of their children. They're in debt as well. They're not, having good degrees. They're not doing stuff that's going to better their livelihood. So what do? It must be the white man's fault. So what I'm trying to say is that everything is really the opposite of what you see on TV. Like, if they're saying they're pro-American, these Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Biden, they're literally against America.
Yeah, it's so true.
I just don't see how people don't see it. It's literally right in their face. Like, you watch them throw a rock at you, and then they put their hand behind their back and say, "Oh no, it wasn't me."
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry for the rant.
No problem, man. It's good to hear from you. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
Problem. Oh, I'm 34.
Okay. Nice, man. Well, call again, Chris. It's good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you, too.
And
man.
watch out.
So
Keep safe over there.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
You too. Oh, boy. Medical cartel is twice as big as the military-industrial complex, says Turtle No Neck with a diamond. Interesting. Yeah. Hadn't considered that. They claim, the military, Trump is funding the military too much, when in reality he was just rebuilding it. And not too quick to use it. I appreciate that. Am I right? I think so. Let me quickly get to Earl, and he wants to talk about the election and to Trump. Just a quick note about Antifa and all them. There has been a false culture. Well, maybe all culture is false. Pushed upon Americans, young Americans, especially. But it's been going on for I would say 100, maybe 150 years. I don't know if it's 150 years, but I know about 100 years or more. That is completely anti-civilization, right? It's not for actual justice. It's not for actual truth. It's about revolution and pushing this atheistic, anti-freedom idea of equality or whatever. And it's so phony. And that has been pushed on generation after generation. And it's actually kind of, they complain about colonization. They're the ones colonizing people to push their fake evil culture onto America and Americans. And it's infected probably most of those countries, maybe south of the border, Mexico and all that. And actually a whole bunch of the people north of the border too, probably, if they're socialists, and around the world. And it's a completely anti-Christian, anti-white in this case, because the whites are more sane. Half or more of the whites vote for sanity. The whole rest don't. And so it just targets the innocent and uplifts the guilty and accuses you of racism and all that stuff. And I think that I've heard that a lot of the Antifa people are not actually white. Maybe some of them, maybe many of them are. But there are cultures that are more infected with this culture, such as the Latinos, the blacks big time. The Jewish people have that problem big time. And they're smarter. They get to the top quick. And that is, it's basically Satanism or evil. It's just pure evil, infecting and so-called colonizing America. Such a shame. And I see these blacks who will tweet out, and they'll think that they're all smart. But it's the same thing that you've always heard. White people act like they didn't come here as immigrants couple hundred years ago and murder a whole bunch of Indians. And now they don't want immigrants to come in. They forgot that they're immigrants. What a sucker. Just a complete caricature, communist caricature, Howard Zinn type attack on true history and on present reality. The whites who are here aren't immigrants. They've been here generations. And they're defending what's right It's not about black or anything. It's about what's right. And we have but whites aren't strong enough to stand up for what's right nowadays. Such a shame. Anyway, now let me get to Earl. He's been on hold very patiently from Michigan. Earl, how are you doing?
Hola, buenos dias.
Hey. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
FYI, you say the Americans here are not immigrants. No, but the descendants were.
No, I don't even think that's. I don't even think that's
the forebears
accurate.
didn't come from this country, so they were immigrants. They came from a different country, did they not?
Yeah, and did you know that that's
they weren't
irrelevant?
originally from this continent or this country.
That's irrelevant.
No, that's a fact.
It's
you tried to
it's an
minimize it
irrelevant fact.
by saying they're not immigrants. Just be factual. Don't
They're
have to
not
lie
immigrants.
about it just to try to stress your point. Just be.
It's factual.
Just be upfront.
It's factual.
And now they
factual,
possess the
Earl.
country.
Oh.
And now they possess the country.
Oh.
What? Idiot! Idiot!
It's funny because when I scream like that, I can hear I think it's the springs echoing. I'm like, wow, powerful. It's factual that the whites here are not immigrants. In your face. And it's irrelevant.
No,
it's irrelevant to say that they were once immigrants. Huh?
They're descended from immigrants.
And it's irrelevant, immigrant or not. We want people to stand for what's right.
Factual.
It's irrelevant. You can be factual and irrelevant, Earl. Get a brain.
No. Do you possess any faculties left? Common sense, for one.
That's a funny word.
But no, that's just the fact of the matter that you try to ignore. Try to skew it so it don't seem like they were here forever and they're not descendants from the immigrants, and that the Native Americans weren't here originally. And so you can make your propaganda.
When we showed up, much of the land was uninhabited. In your face.
I don't care what much of the land was. Y'all immigrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
You don't care what's right.
No, I'm caring what's factual.
No, you don't care what's factual or what's right.
The fact was, you weren't here first.
Where'd the Indians come? Where'd the Indians come from?
Huh?
They were settlers. They were not immigrants. This was not a country. This was land. There's a big difference.
They had to fight to take the land. They were immigrants.
They didn't always fight to take the land. Sometimes they bought it. Sometimes they just took it because there was nobody here. And in some cases...
And when they didn't get it, they didn't want to sell their force. So they fought for it.
That's what men do. That's what happens.
And that's why the Trail of Tears, you say... And that's why the Trail of Tears you claim was maybe voluntary, which everybody knows in history wasn't. That was a forced migration.
Cry me a river.
Of course you, lying but as you are, always skewing it.
Did he say what I think he said?
The facts. But let me get out there because
okay.
That's just something you do. You like to just do things and lie and kind of, try to persuade folks that what they really happened wasn't really true.
In reality, Earl, all of your talk is a bunch of nonsense because it's right versus wrong.
It ain't right versus wrong.
Yes, it is.
That's all your imagination of what you call right.
Is it right?
You call it right because you call it right, you idiot. That it has to be right. You know authority on right.
Why are you so...
as wrong as anybody else. You just have your opinion, and you ain't no better than nobody else. So don't give me that crap.
You're vicious.
What's right and wrong, like some authority on something.
By the way, a belated happy Veterans Day to my first caller. A sensible man. A sensible black man. A sensible 34-year-old black man.
Opinions too. Everybody has their opinion. There is no monolith. Blacks are no monolith, and whites are no monolith.
Right. Well,
Whites
blacks, I don't know. They're pretty much a monolith. 97%,
that's your
98% voting for
That's your
Obama. And
racist white-wing rhetoric, propaganda, the way you think.
I didn't force you guys to vote that way.
You don't know nothing about black.
Yes, I
so
do.
you claim you
I
are.
know plenty.
You can claim you can tell who's black and who's not.
Whatever.
What a fool!
Dang.
But
Is it right, Earl? Earl, is it right to hate whites and to lie?
no, it's not right to hate anybody.
Right. And how about to lie?
But
Is it right to lie?
Even you,
Hey.
Even you said that talking to David, that sometimes when he said about trying to persuade blacks to your side, he said, well, sometimes you can't, salt pedal. You have to tell the truth even though it's uncomfortable.
Right.
Well, sometimes it's uncomfortable telling the truth about white folks.
How about lying? Hey, Earl. How about
don't like it, do you, boy?
How about lying?
What?
How about lying about whites? Is it right to lie about whites?
No, it's not. No, it's not right to lie about whites. Is it right to lie about blacks?
Thank you.
Is it right to lie about blacks like you do every day?
Of course not. That's what Joe Biden does. He's the one who lies about blacks.
The whole program is based on lies and subjection of your right wing.
So I'm very glad. I'm very glad to know
attitude
that you agree with me that this unrelenting stream of immigration overwhelming the white people, and that's not a bad thing. I'm glad to know that you agree with me that that's not right.
What's not right?
All this immigration and Joe Biden mess.
What you mean immigration and Joe Biden mess? I ain't saying nothing about immigration and Joe Biden mess.
I said you said that you agree with me that it's not right to lie about whites, and that's all Joe Biden has been doing.
That's not a lie about whites.
Yes, he did.
What's the lie about whites? That they immigrated from came from another place?
He said their veins were bulging. I did not see one vein in that ad. And he also said that, maybe in his face, and then they bared their fangs of racism. I did not see fangs, and I did not see racism. He's a liar.
Sometimes you just speak rhetorically and
you're making excuses.
Expressively, not literally, like you.
I know,
like,
but he said
like
racism.
It has no imagination. Trying to make everything literal perfect, And people use adjective and expressive adjectives all the time.
You're ignoring the racism thing.
What?
He falsely said racism. He falsely cried racism against the decent, very fine people in Charlottesville.
Well, that is racism.
No, it's not. And what's wrong with that?
And what's wrong with that?
This is America. It's a free country, or it used to be.
Just admit it's racism. You like it.
Anyway,
some folks don't.
Well, I appreciate your call, Earl. Nice talking with you.
No, that wasn't what I called. I said I called for.
I know, but you wasted.
Donald Trump.
I know. I see that. But you wasted all your time arguing with me.
Time dwelling on it.
No, you're the one talking most of this.
When I started to go to something else, you keep asking me questions about the same thing.
Yeah, because I like clarity. Clarity.
Anyway, your Trump is just a formality.
I'm being nice. I'll let him talk a little bit. His cohorts know he lost. Dignitaries already from other countries already know there's going to be a change. Not China.
They're calling Joe Biden.
Not China.
Congratulations.
Not China.
Don't have to be China. Don't have to be every country in the world.
Thank you. So now,
but they still acknowledging them.
It's not over.
It's just not thinking permanently. It's over.
No, it's not over.
Just like T and Tony and others have said, it's over. But the shouting.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
That's why every court, and every time they throw up some false allegations of cheating and so forth, they throw it out. In fact,
that's false.
They
that's
had
fake
his lawyer
news.
Admit that they were lying.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm
glad you brought that up because that's fake news.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard
In
about.
court-
I heard something
in
to that effect, and
Pennsylvania-
it's. I heard something.
Pennsylvania,
Oh, let me respond to the question. I heard something about that, and that's fake news. I'm glad you brought that up. It reminded me about. I may address that in more detail.
No.
Anyway,
It's factual.
no, it's fake news.
It's factual.
It just shows you the bunch of liberal fake judges who hate America.
And by the way,
Thank you.
your thing about Emmett
I noticed
Till,
that was undisputed because it's indisputable that they're liberal judges who
What?
hate America.
No.
Yep.
They just say if you got evidence, bring it.
They
If
don't
you
have to
get
bring
out
the
of my
evidence.
court.
They said we need to
If you
stop
don't
this.
have it, if you just
They don't have
throw an
to.
accusation first.
Nope. They
first,
have plenty of evidence. They have 200-something
No.
affidavits.
If they had
That's
evidence, the case will go on.
No.
The fact is,
Liberal judges
they don't, have
don't
evidence.
care about the truth. That's a fact.
No,
Jack.
You just care about propaganda. You say if I make a charge, you should go with it.
All right.
No matter if I
Anyways,
have anything
nice
to
talking
prove
with
it
you,
or
Earl.
not.
I got to run. Have a good one.
All right, scary cat. Adios, amigos.
All right. Bye. More like enemigos. That means enemies. Did you know that? I think. Let me quickly, I got to get the voice of reason back in here. The voice of reason, Art in Ohio. Art, thank you for holding. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. How you doing?
Hey, fine, thank you.
All right, well, let me start off with the Indians and Christopher Columbus or whatnot when they came over here. First, I don't get me all. I ain't no dang on scholar because I'm really trying to remember back when I was a kid.
Nice.
Probably like 6, 7 years old. 8 years old. I read up when I taught myself how to read because I used to always stutter when I would read. So I like reading little books about Christopher Columbus and stuff. So long story short.
Cool.
When Christopher Columbus allegedly got the boasted he got from the Queen or whatnot or of UK, they came over here. They seen that all of Virginia, all up that coast, all the way down there from South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, New York, was nothing but lined up with TPs. So I think you might be wrong in your assumption that this land was open when they came over here.
There had to be some areas that weren't settled. It was huge.
No,
huge.
hold up. Now listen real quick before you go on.
There weren't 330 million Indians here. I'll tell you that much.
Listen, check this out. And this is where people start to get confused at.
All right.
The problem we having with the news today and the liberals.
By the way, quick note. Hold your thought. Don't forget it. Christopher Columbus didn't come to the U.S. land.
Okay, so what
Yeah.
land did he come to?
I think he went to, like, I don't know, the Caribbean islands, right? Something like that? Something like that. But
he
anyways.
went there first, or he went. I thought he went there. He might have went there first, and then came to the coast.
I don't think he ever touched the North American land. He just discovered the New World, which is both North and South America and the islands.
Okay,
but it's irrelevant. It's kind of irrelevant.
Well, hold up. If you saying that they never touched land, well, how did they start trading with the Indians?
There were Indians down there too.
But I'm saying,
but not the North American Indians.
You saying that they didn't touch land? Well, if
no,
they
touched land.
They
didn't touch the North American land. They didn't touch the land that would become the great United States of America, the once great United States of America. We're gonna make it great again.
I'm confused. I'm trying to figure. I'm just talking about the whole.
You may be thinking about the Mayflower, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I think that stuff came. Those were the Pilgrims, the settlers.
Okay, so wasn't those the first people who discovered America, right?
No, they came after it was discovered and colonies started happening.
So who discovered America first? Because I must be.
No, Christopher Columbus did maybe a couple of 100 years earlier. I don't know. I don't know my stuff either.
I'm trying to figure out what history book and where, because this don't sound
Christopher
correct.
Columbus.
What you telling me
Christopher Columbus.
And it definitely don't make no sense.
I know, it's great. I mean, there's so much. It's a big world, right? It's a big world.
Well, if you want me to go ahead and lay down what I read and what I seen before a lot of this stuff was liberally whitewashed by the liberals, how they like to lie and screw stuff up. If you go back to the original maps all the land, just like I said, on that coast, and it was mostly on the East Coast, was nothing but TPs full of Indians.
I didn't know that.
From when I'm getting towards like North Dakota, it wasn't that many. But if you get the real original.
That may be true, but that's funny because the North Dakota, isn't that an Indian name, Dakota? I think it is. So
well,
like
if you let me finish,
go on. Go on.
I'll get to that.
All right.
So long story short, when they touched down the first time, bam, they seen that it was a whole bunch of Indians, and they clearly weren't about to be able to try to take them over and or do anything like that, allegedly. So I think that Christopher Columbus left, and it took like years for him to get back over to UK, and he stayed there. He told the Queen that he wanted to go back. Bam, he needed probably some more money or something. I don't know. Long story short, from my understanding, when he touched back down towards the coast of America, that's when the smallpox. They said the Europeans put the smallpox in the blanket to kill off half the Indians or whatnot, and then I think something along the line. That's how they started wiping off the Indians and pushing them back.
Is that a true story about the smallpox blankets? Was that intentional?
What? You better read up on your history, sir. Yes,
no, I don't want to read
the
history. It doesn't matter.
That's definitely true.
It may be true. I don't know. Was that was that Jackson, who is alleged to have done that, or one of those Custer or somebody? I don't know my stuff.
But it's definitely in Virginia.
Columbus went to Spain. UK, Spain, same thing.
Whatever. All that. I ain't. Long story short, from my understanding, I think it was Plymouth Rock, Virginia, or whatnot. So all that land is enriched with all that type of history or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then, we had
real quick.
Go ahead,
let me cut in. We had Thanksgiving with them because we couldn't take them over. They helped us plant corn and stuff. So we made Thanksgiving with the Indians.
She said we had Thanksgiving. Well, that's what allegedly Thanksgiving.
No, it's true. It's a fact.
Well, allegedly, how they say that's how it came. But
right.
Somehow they said it was. I think they said it was like after the smallpox. They tried to have a feast so they could try to get back cool with something crazy. So
okay.
I ain't too. So then my other thing is with people like Earl that just called in or whatnot, and this, you notice what you asked him. You said something about, you asked him about, do you like people that lie? And you see how he just answered it like, how he answered, that's how liberal answers a question. Do you like lying? Now, if you ask me, do I like lying? I'm gonna be like, heck no, I don't like no liars, man. That's the worst thing you could be is a liar, a cheater, and a thief. But what I'm saying is Earl might be one of them habitual liars that like to lie just to hear himself lie, because he didn't sound like he was for sure about what he was just saying when you asked him about do he like liars.
That's an interesting observation. Maybe so.
Yeah, I see through him like I don't wipe him down and win. That's long story short. So another thing is with Earl is that, see, he's like another one of these liberals, like the news and these NCAA coaches and a lot of these hospital and these beta churches, devil churches, or whatnot, fake Christian churches. See, they don't seem to understand is, once again, you can't bring people from another land. See, this land, we've been here for over 400 years.
Yeah.
You talking about people that's been over here for only 20 and 30 and 40 years. We don't been over here 450, maybe 5. I don't know. Don't quote me on all the numbers.
Generations.
I ain't did. Generations, hundreds and hundreds of generations. You got people that came over here 30, 40 years, and you listen to Joe Biden tell it, and Mexicans, they the best people around. They good. They don't think like the Negroes. The Negroes ain't stuck. They ain't never picked cotton. And let's go ahead and trade places with the Negroes. How he talks like the Mexicans or guys get to earth or something.
Yeah.
And I definitely beg to differ that everybody's created equal, because if me and you was created equally as Mexicans, then why Mexico don't look like America then? Why China don't look like America then, Jack?
Yep. Very good point,
you see
man.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Joe Biden, you need to go ahead and chill out. You're not getting in office. First of all, And I ain't gonna say no period, because that's that young. I can't stand people say period, man. That's long story short. Second of all, that wall going up, we getting it up immediately. And we're going to start shipping a lot of these foreigners back home. They need to go back home and work on their own country. Second of all, and then third of all, I'm ready to start kicking my feet up. And I'm sure a lot of these white people ready to start kicking their feet up and get to spread their arms in their own home and be able to walk around just like when you put your kids out the house when they turn 18. I'm ready to get to walk around my house with my with no clothes on, butt naked, cooking food. You see what I'm saying? We need to start seeing y'all home. I'm just saying that I'm just ready to get the kids out the house so me and the wife can walk around the house butt naked. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But,
are you married already?
No.
Yeah, you got your stuff taken care of.
I ain't got it taken care of. But I'm glad you asked me that too. Oh no, that's what I intentionally called about. Sorry about that. I'm a little hyped up. I'm trying to get everything out. so that's what. And I know Ohio went for Trump, but my friend I was talking to, he was telling me that a girl that he know said that she didn't register, and they sent her something back in the mail saying that thank you for voting.
Wow.
Now I don't know how true this is. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to bring this to the Hake and friends and Jesse and to the American people and the citizens and let y'all know that I don't care if Ohio did go for Trump or whatnot. If it ain't right, it ain't right. Right is right, wrong is wrong. They need to have a recount up here and everywhere to make sure that we crossing our T's and dotting our I's. If Trump lost, he lost. We'll take it and we'll roll with it.
Right.
Ain't no crybaby Republicans over here. We men over here. We ain't betas.
Yep.
Long story short, and then if Earl knew anything, fifth of all, you would know the Pompeo that said we're going to have a nice second transitional presidency with President Trump. So clearly Beta Earl don't understand that the writing is on the wall. Alpha man wouldn't sit here and tell you something like that if he didn't have the factual paperwork evidence. See what I'm saying? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then I'm getting off here, but I'm going to say this about that cop yesterday from New York. Thank you for saying that, because a lot of these beta men need to start hearing that, because they know a lot of these females is like that.
What's that? What'd the cop say from New York yesterday?
As far as they be these police officer females, and they at work, they don't arrest nobody. You would think that they had a beauty salon. They treat the citizens like they're kids, or they're their kids. They don't have no type of ethics or whatnot.
Yeah.
They don't know how to carry themselves in a business manner. In an appropriate manner. That's why you see the females, especially in the black community, coming in with tight clothes when you're supposed to be coming in there dressed presentable. They always overdoing it. And then why you think the dang old court systems is so messed up right now? Because you got a whole bunch of liberal females and males in there that's keeping a lot of this stuff going.
Yeah.
Y'all can't see it, and America's gonna go to war if they don't. Trump. I'm sorry, Hake. I'm gonna have to donate some money. I'm saying one more thing, and I'm off here. Trump, listen to me, Trump. You have to lock up Hillary, Biden, produce all the evidence, Obama and all of them, because the people are not, and they're not going to, the Democrats and the liberals are not going to take you serious. They're trying to punch you in your nose with trying to steal the election, so you're going to have to lock them up. They're taking the American and the citizens as a joke. They think that they're above the law, and ain't nobody above the law in America. Trump, handle your business, produce the evidence, and American people, we with you. God bless you and Trump in America.
Thank you. All right, real quick, which show was that on, that cop from New York who called? Was it my show or was it Jesse's show yesterday?
I think it was Jesse's show yesterday.
Okay, I kind of remember. Okay,
and I'm so proud of him, and God bless him. And I hope he ain't give out his dang on real name, because they gonna try to assassinate him.
AJ, was it AJ?
Yeah, I hope he ain't give out his real name. You can't be giving them liberals. They are freak. They're poisoning you, man.
From
I'm
Bronx.
serious.
Okay.
They don't like the truth. God bless you, man. I told you I love y'all, man.
Thank you. All right, it's good to hear from you, man. Take care.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Nice guy. That's cool. Yeah, that clip with AJ from the Bronx, New York, it's up on the Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube channel. Check that out later. I don't know if I might have forgotten to thank Robot Moose for the diamond. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support. Oh, man. What the heck? I didn't realize we're this far over. I'm going to get back to calls. I do want to get to a couple of things. You know, Joe Biden and this religion stuff. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the ACLU, just the scum of the earth. Really evil. Part of that evil culture that I was telling you about. It's just devilish. Really evil. And maybe some other things, hopefully, right? Hopefully. There is some documentation or articles over the years, dead people voting, voter fraud. Even with Obama. Obama was associated with this group called Acorn. And they were all into this get out the vote thing. And some of them did not mind bending/breaking the rules and committing fraud and stuff. Really evil stuff. And Obama was a big liar from start to finish. And to this day. But I'll be back in a couple of minutes, guys. Hang tight for the rest of hour 2. What's up? We're back. It is 10:13 a.m. here in Los Angeles, California. Looking forward to a fun day. We are having a Fallen State taping. We got to put out some more Rockfin stuff on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, am I right? I mean, on the Jesse Lee Peterson exclusive stuff, am I right? Maybe we'll be working on that. What's next? What's a good thing to do for you guys? Appreciate the support. You guys supporting over on Rockfin or Patreon or Subscribestar. Any one of those works for the exclusive content. But, okay, I'm going to get to calls. Real quick, let me just show. Okay, so Joe Biden, you know how the Christians are so weak right now? The church has been subverted by females and anti-whites, fake, evil religion, right? Between 47 and 50% of Catholic voters supported Trump. Right on to that 47 or 50%, right? Small decline from 2016, to the shame for those who declined, right? Enough to cast him the Rust Belt states that mattered most to his path to victory. That's Trump. Or maybe not enough. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see what happens. Will he win or will he lose? Don't know. Nationally, the President, Trump, carried Catholics by a 15-point margin according to AP. VoteCast data. A significant decline from his 33-point margin of victory, though, over Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. What a shame. Shame on those liberal Catholics or those Catholic... I don't want to say the C word that ends in uck. Trump's slippage is what they call it with white evangelicals was less pronounced. Right on to the white evangelicals holding the line. I don't even know what an evangelical is, but I guess that's what we are. I don't know. Surveys showed him carrying 76 to 78% of the white, so-called born-again Christian vote. I don't know where they're getting that term, right? A slight decrease, because if it was a born-again Christian, it would be 100%, right? If they're truly born again, right? A slight decrease from 2016 when he won support from about 80%, 8 in 10 white evangelicals, so-called. But it had far-reaching implications. In Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, current vote totals show him losing by less than 1%. So any of you Christian weaklings, not the strong kind of Christians, but the weakling kind who didn't vote for Trump, surrendering the country to evil. In Georgia, white evangelicals make 35% of the electorate. Exit poll data shows Biden grew white evangelical support for the Democrat ticket by 9. That means no in German. Percentage points, drawing 14% support, compared with Hillary's 5% support in 2016. Traditionally red state, that's Georgia. It's going to get a recount. Biden is leading Trump by just over 10,000 votes out of 5 million cast in Georgia overall. Interesting times, huh? They call it an unbelievable swing, tripling Clinton's numbers almost with so-called white evangelicals, according to some liberal former faith advisor with the Obama administration named Michael Wear, W-E-A-R. And he says, if Biden would have performed as poorly as Clinton did 4 years ago, Hillary, among white evangelicals, he would have lost Georgia and this election. And maybe he still will. Maybe he still will. We'll see. Don't know. I don't know the future. So they actually intentionally pursued white Catholic and so-called evangelical voters. Democrats used to write them off, kind of like how Republicans are said to write off blacks, and it's crazy. So I don't know. We anchored our faith outreach among 3 priorities, making people of faith feel valued and respected by this campaign. It's completely fake, and if you fell for it, shame on you, which I don't think anybody here is a white so-called evangelical who would have voted for Biden or not voted for Trump. If you are, you can call me. But they said making sure people of faith knew we were directly asking for their votes and making an affirmative case for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, as opposed to just the case against Donald Trump, said this guy Dixon, which is some other dumb liberal who's helping them. So they're phony. And Politico, probably a female writer for Politico, far-left, anti-Trump outlet, anti-American outlet, honestly. Even in his acceptance speech Saturday night, which he didn't accept anything, he's a liar, Biden struck a pastoral tone. That's what they said. Pastoral, like he's a pastor, invoking scripture to reassure a deeply divided nation that this is a time to heal in America. What a phony. Complete phony. It's just like what Obama did. Completely divide the country. And we all knew it. But the mainstream media pretended it wasn't happening. And then all the division is exposed under Trump when it was Obama's doing. It has been a long time coming. There's been this subversive anti-culture, anti-civilization, fake culture pushed upon America. And the people, many of them have swallowed it. Unthinking, unquestioningly. What a shame. Completely betraying what's right and betraying whites, betraying Christians. It's sick. But progressive evangelical groups and the Biden, which means non-Christian. They're fake Christian, right? Bunch of liberals. non-Christians. And Biden campaign aides were involved in faith outreach, acknowledged that Trump was a unique opponent because his behavior and messaging gave them opportunity to make inroads because Trump isn't nice. Fake. Trump is real. Nice is fake. And that's what a whole lot of Americans have fallen for, to think that nice is love. Nope, it's not. If there's one thing I want for the Biden campaign and Democrats to take, it's a robust invitation to these voters. You can grab anywhere from 5 to 10% of these idiots. He didn't say idiots, but this Minnesota so-called pastor, Doug Padgett, executive director of progressive faith outreach group, Vote Common Good. Isn't that communist? The common good, the greater good. And that's what they got. Quickly, let me cover this RGB thing. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died, I learned, and I guess I think I kind of knew this actually, that she is pure evil. And there is a person who, his name is Ron Klain. Klain. Ron Klain. I'm sorry. And I got this from a guy named Ted Frank on Twitter. He's a blue check mark. It seems like a decent guy. I'm not sure. But Ron Klain, I think he is the Joe Biden's wannabe chief of staff. Joe Biden is picking him for chief of staff if Joe Biden gets in, which is a big if. We don't know. And Ron Klain worked with Ruth Ginsburg back in, I think, 1993 or so. And according to his notes, I think his notes, this came out of the Clinton library. It's a memorandum, right, from Ron Klain regarding Judge Ginsburg, right? Let me read this first note. He has several notes, right? Or at least a few. 2 pages, right? And one potential issue with Judge Ginsburg before she's approved by the Senate in 1993, I think it was, to the Supreme Court. This was a Clinton appointee, Bill Clinton, the scum of the earth liar. This woman, this female, had a stalwart defense of the ACLU, anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-Trump now, organization. Communist, basically. Evil organization. When asked. So he's trying to prep her for, okay, make sure you don't say the wrong thing. Make sure you hide some of what you're really about so that you can get approved. When asked about her ACLU policies, this is that Ron Klain guy, for her ACLU policies to legalize prostitution, decriminalize the distribution of pornography to minors, decriminalize marijuana, ban the death penalty. Judge Ruth Ginsburg has a strong tendency to defend the ACLU position. She has an instinct for defending some rather extreme liberal views on these questions. She also relishes defending the ACLU as an institution and its so-called importance in American society. ACLU is not important at all. They are important to leave. They're pure evil. Well, they're doing their job because they're pushing evil, and that's their job. They're sick. And anybody who supports them are useful idiots and evil themselves. And that's her. Pornography to minors. Prostitution. Sick, perverted woman. So I just had to share that. And by the way, she said that, or Ted Frank, this journalist I saw him post this on Twitter. RBG, Ruth Ginsburg, got 90 plus votes out of 100, right? And he says that's a testament to the good faith of the Republican conference trying to lower the temperature of confirmation hearings. No, that's weak Republicans. And then he also said Klein's skill in keeping a stubborn witness from arguing about the merits of selling porn to minors. That's a good point. But the Republicans, this good faith stuff, and that was back in, I think it was back in 93, right? That she was appointed to the Supreme Court. So even back then, there were, all of the Republicans were weak except for maybe 9 or 8 on the Senate. So it's been a long decline of men, right? Because that's disgusting. Who did she replace? Who did she replace? I don't know. Anyway, let me get to Chris in Georgia. He's been on hold forever. Chris asks if he's crazy for wearing an anti-BLM shirt. Depends on where you are, Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
Hey, Hake. I'm doing quite well, man.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, man, I called a couple weeks ago and asked you a question. But, yeah, so I made a T-shirt that says no BLM USA with the black fist crossed out. And on the back, it has a quote from Daryl Harrison. You and Jesse should interview that guy. He's a black preacher who is speaking out against BLM. And he said Black Lives Matter is a spiritually dark and demonic organization.
Yeah.
And I wore it to Griffin, Georgia, to a Mexican restaurant, and I thought I was going to walk out of there in a body bag.
You got a lot of you got a lot of comments?
I had this young black kid, maybe somewhere between 16 and 21, is my guess.
Yeah.
He was working. All the staff members, you could feel the hatred. The waitress, the bartender, I sat at the bar because it's just, when this COVID thing that has everyone waiting. If you go to the bar,
you don't
get
have
in
to
a
wait.
lot faster.
Yep.
You don't have to wait. So I'm sitting at the bar, and I was being mean mugged, man. You could just feel it, and you could tell that place was leftist. And this black kid comes up to me. He says, hey, man, let me ask you something, because he was mean mugging me.
Uh-huh.
And then he pulled his mask down like he was ready to fight. And I was like, here we go. Because I've been, like I told you before, I've been jumped by black people, especially in Griffin, Georgia. The culture for black people there is, it's not all, but most is very thuggish. At least that's been my experience.
What is it a suburb of? Because I haven't really heard of Griffin, Georgia.
It's south of Atlanta. It's basically an extension of South Atlanta, where it's poor. And so,
why did you do that?
Why did I make the shirt?
Well, no. Why'd you wear the shirt there?
I didn't know it was a leftist place, and over where I live, people see it and you can tell it hurts them or bothers them. And over where I'm at, people have enough sense to not want to pick a fight with you, or they may actually ask you a question about why would you want something that sounds so racist up front to anyone who thinks BLM's legitimate.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting into. I just know as a Christian, I wanted to use it to say, hey, you say, you say that everything that is on the right, Trump and all of us are fascists, and you say no fascist USA. Well, let's talk about BLM.
Right.
The founders are 3 lesbians who practice witchcraft, and this young man, that's what he did. He came over there, and I can tell he was ready to fight. And he says, "What's that mean? Black Lives Matter is a spiritually dark organization." And I turned around and was like, "Well, as a Christian, I can't support an organization that practices witchcraft. The founders practice witchcraft, and when they teach people to say her name, talking about Brianna, they're trying to summon her back up from the dead. And as a Christian, witchcraft, they're not going to summon Brianna back up; they're going to summon a demon.
Yeah. And
if you probably already know that, maybe.
Well, I mean, I've heard stuff like that. I think Jesse Lee Peterson covered that on his show. But to me, like the the obvious facts are that they're liars and smearers. They hate white people. They hate cops, and they're exploiting black anger for the black destruction. And they've increased black on black crime and black on white crime and black on cop crime. So they're pure evil. They're just a lynch mob. That's all they are.
Yeah, they're just a spiritually dark. Yeah, they're spiritually. Yeah, I mean, how can you be pro-black and be against the nuclear family?
Right.
How can you be pro-black and be for abortion?
Yeah.
And so, do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I should watch myself? All my friends who are, one guy, he and I followed Patriot Prayer. He's like, dude, man, just basically tone it down. I commend you. You got balls, but you're going to have to figure out a better way to get you. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I think that you might be being a little careless. It seems like by your attitude, like you think that it's a big joke or something. Or I mean, I know that you really believe what you're wearing. You believe in what you're wearing, and in what you're wearing, it is what it says on your shirt. It is true, but you do want to be smart. But you really have to know for yourself, and not. You don't have to ask me or Jesse or anybody. You have to know for yourself what's wise and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you all is well that ended well, I guess. You had the opportunity to tell the truth to that guy, and hopefully you presented yourself well. But you want to make sure that you stay sane and safe and smart.
Yeah, my heart. See, Antifa. I have to pray about. Just says let go of anger. I'm working on that with Antifa. BLM. I feel compassionate because a lot of black people are just duped. Some, not all. Well, some of them are.
I don't know if you do, because how can you have compassion and anger?
Well, I don't have anger towards BLM. I have.
But you can't have. I don't know if it really makes sense that you can have compassion for one person and anger for another. I think that's a false compassion.
Well, I feel, I don't know. I'm a little more softer in heart.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, these guys are just. He's a young, angry black man because somebody got a hold of his head, just the way the Klan gets a hold of a white person's head.
I haven't seen that.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. But anyway,
someone got a hold of his head.
That was another funny. Allow me to briefly interrupt, because that reminded me of something in Joe Biden's thing. He said, what did he say? Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis filled the streets or whatever in Charlottesville, Virginia. And that's not even true. Like, not one person was any of those three things.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all a caricature to just smear white people. It's just anti-white. Dog whistling. Pretty much. And the boy, that man that called earlier, Leroy, whatever his name was, 2 callers ago, those guys really need to do a history study. They do not understand. You talking about Art? You talking about Art from Ohio?
No, the one before him.
Earl from Michigan.
Earl.
The angry
Art,
older guy.
Yeah, and Art, he doesn't entirely get it either. One, there was no genocide of the Native Americans. That's just retarded.
Right.
And, one, you got to start a premise with the sovereignty of God. I had one of these BLM people try to go at it, black supremacist guys at me, and he was going off in his black victimization, and I just looked him dead in the eye and said, so how does God's sovereignty play into all this? He didn't know how to answer it. He was like, I believe in free will. And I'm like, well, how free is your will if the Bible says God determines the nation?
Interesting.
So he meant for white people to come over here, and the Pilgrims were Christians. So what are you talking? These people, one, they're ignorant because they don't believe in God. They do not understand His sovereignty, and two, genocide. If you can commit genocide by smallpox, then you may as well say the coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, is Chinese genocide.
It might be like a chemical or a biological warfare. I don't know. I heard that it may have been developed as a defense against biological warfare. I don't know. But anyway, Chris, Do you do Jesse Lee Peterson's silent prayer?
I don't. I tried it a few times. I need to get back to practicing that. What I
can tell.
What I do practice. what I do practice is praying.
How old are you?
You know, the hooper and the holler. I do the hooper and hollering, as he says. 42.
Okay. You strong? Physically strong?
Like, no, man. I haven't been in a fight since I was probably a teenager.
I didn't ask if you were in a fight. I asked if you're physically strong, man.
No, strong. No, I'm not that strong, man. I'm out of shape. I've actually got.
Are you white?
Back. Oh, I'm white.
Typical.
White as you be, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm white.
I said typical.
How?
Oh, whites in their 30s and 40s. Some of us. Like, I don't know if you're into work or something or why you're neglecting your body and health, but I think a whole lot of whites kind of let themselves go and pour themselves into work and just kind of ignore one thing or another, right? But
Yep.
I have one more question. I got a text from somebody who asked, how does one walk out of a restaurant, out of anywhere really, in a body bag? You said that you thought you were going to have to walk out of the restaurant in a body bag. How would you do that?
Yeah, you can't do that. I was just trying to say. I guess I should have, to be more precise, I should have said I would be leaving the restaurant in a body bag.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah, that's all. That's what I really meant. I was just being goofy in the way I
How long
said
have you
it.
been listening to the show?
You and Jesse for about two. How long you been doing it? 2 years now. I started,
September
I was listening to
2017.
Jesse. 17 December. So yeah, around there.
Okay.
Going into 18. I know for sure 18.
Cool.
You know.
I
Yeah, and
appreciate
I
it,
work
man.
out in the. Yeah, I appreciate it too. I really appreciate what you and Jesse do.
What do
man.
you do? What do you work out? Or where do you work? I know
I'm
you
not
don't
gonna
work
say.
out.
Yeah. Well, I do work in the field, just talking to people at houses and stuff. And like I said, it's mostly Southwest Atlanta, and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to say what kind of work I do.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I wasn't trying to get you doxxed, man. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, or hunted down. No, I appreciate it, bro. It's fine. That's what I do.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Chris. Call again and watch your back. Do what you want. Do what you want, but do what you see as wise. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Huh. I got to get to Eli. I think it's Eli, a first-time caller out of California, wants to talk about China's influence in America. Eli, am I pronouncing your name right?
James, hey, what's up, man?
Hey. Not
Can you
much.
hear me?
What's up with you? I hear you fine.
Okay, good. I'm in the country. Man, so great to talk to you, man. Absolutely changed my life. I got my manager tuning in from New York, listening.
Wow.
So check it out, man. I was going to talk about that, but, you know, I was raised in a really liberal family, and the conversation took a turn. Bonnie rates my aunt, but, like, kind of estranged, you know. And so her little brother's my dad, and straight up, man, like, when my dad was in high school, he was going to a boarding school, and he and Bonnie's older brother, Steve, my uncle, picked him up, literally, VW bus, drove him out, I think to Vermont first, and to a commune where they, you know, literally a commune, which I realize now, a communist, but literally, like, learned how to build houses, like industrialized yurts, so like brown homes,
Oh, wow.
affluent homes.
Yeah.
He was like, forget the fame, forget whatever, and you know, no God in my home. My grandfather went to church and stuff, but he passed when I was pretty young. So we didn't have any God. We just had a lot of fame. And my dad was pretty unwell. Like I said, dropped out of high school. So I kind of grew up somewhat poor in Northern California and found out over time like what my family was, stuff like that. But it's been like a huge thing for me. I was like, when Trump was elected the first time, I woke my homie up and I like cried. Like, I was vegan and going to yoga every single day. And,
Oh, wow.
Absolutely, man.
So you were
Absolutely.
upset when Trump won in 2016?
Absolutely, I cried, man. You know, and I was
Dang.
putting out death threats. I was putting out death threats on Facebook.
Wait, you were putting out death threats online?
I was the epitome of just an extreme leftist.
You were basically like Antifa.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly.
Maybe without that name.
Yeah, for sure, I was worse.
Are you Hispanic, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, it's funny you ask. I'm pretty much Caucasian through and through, but I did grow up in Mexico part of the time, and I found out through ancestry that, I got some Spanish blood.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's under like 10%.
Mostly white.
That's, mostly white. It's hard when I fill out paperwork. I don't know what's
right. Whatever's most
but here's the
beneficial.
thing. I think you might like this. In the last couple of years, like I had seen your show, and I always liked your guys' vibe. Jesse, of course, I saw a little bit more, but I've been turned on to your stuff lately, and it's been great. I'm looking forward to what you got.
Thank you.
And really. But long story short, I just was homeless for a couple of years. My family gave up on me. I lost custody of my daughter due to finances. Didn't put me on the birth certificate and stuff. And it's my responsibility. I understand that, but it just gave me a different viewpoint on just being a man in this country and just how we treat men.
Yeah.
And then one of my best friends was a sergeant in the military, and I used to be like, "Why do you like Trump? Why are you in the military?" And then he passed away. And thank God we had good conversations before, but he got in a crash. Just made me, take a step back. And just in the last couple of months, I've really just been like getting lost in you guys' show. Man, my whole family's not vibing with me. I went and found my biological grandfather who my family didn't want me to find. And right before he passed away, I was able to send a picture of my daughter to his daughter, my aunt, and felt like there was some like forgiveness of the father there. And then I tried to go to my mom's house and forgive her, and I know it's suggesting, but long story short, I'm totally conservative now. I'm trying to figure out, still living in this liberal town, and trying to figure out how to move forward with this legacy that's super liberal. I ended up getting jumped by the Hebrew Israelites, or the Black Israelites in Inglewood, but then also a conservative black man came and
down here in Inglewood.
Absolutely, yeah. They have a school out there. They have an Israelite school out there in Inglewood.
Uh-huh.
You could look it up. And so I was out there homeless, and they were preaching, doing their thing. I'd never seen anything like it. And they acted like a question answer for them kind of thing. So I'll take some questions.
Oh boy!
And I went up, and I was kind of silly and provocative. I ended up trying to unplug the microphone, and this is when I was younger.
Were you still liberal at that point, or conservative by then?
I was kind of in the middle, man. I was so homeless, and all my dreams were being shattered. When I was wealthy, ironically, I tended to be really liberal.
Yeah.
And I really had, a lifestyle like that, and I could afford it. And when I was poor, I found what conservative values were all about.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the precipice. But I got jumped, and then I was like, at a point, I was almost racist. I was like, I'm a hip hop artist, and my aunt used to sleep with Muddy Waters and all this and that, or whatever. So it's like I got
nice name drop. That's funny.
Yeah, or whatever. For real though. And she doesn't care if I live or die, man. I mean it. But God bless her, for real. But long story short, I just found God. Just gave my life to God, and went and tried to forgive my mother. Nobody's vibing with me in my family. Nobody's hearing me. My daughter happens to be in the South. I'm going to be going down to Los Angeles again, giving it another whack, and just trying to. It's really weird, man. I never thought I'd try to be like a conservative.
But you're working
musician. Right now, yeah. Well, I'm helping my buddy out here. We're out in Northern California, and I don't like the work I'm having to do, but it's just weed's all legal out here, so I kind of help trim it and stuff. So I'm kind of stuck in that, and I'm trying to just save money and move out there. And just my daughter, I haven't met her. She's 4.
I mean, it's expensive down here. I'm not trying to convince you not to, but it's something to be aware of.
I worked at the Trader Joe's in Silver Lake for about a year.
Oh, wow.
And I was, full time, and I tried to do the dream thing half time, and it just wasn't working. And I met a dude who worked there for 20 years, and he's like, I moved here to be an actor. And I was like, well, it's because you work at Trader Joe's that you're not. And so, I was just, I also wanted to put it out there. I know it's crazy, but I heard that you guys are looking for interns. So I don't know if there's an application process or anything, but I'm down for the cause.
You can send us an email with like a 1-page write-up on who you are, what's your skills are, how you think you might like to help, and Joel suggests you live in.
I could probably find it.
Joel suggests you live in San Gabriel Valley, which is a little cheaper than, or even further out, maybe as San Bernardino, a little cheaper than or yeah, the Inland Empire than Silver Lake or any place in LA proper. But anyway, up to you, man. Yeah, but
Absolutely,
you can
I'll
definitely
take
email
that.
us and follow up with a phone call if we don't get back to you, and we'll see.
Just just for the sake of the conversation, I dug up some documents and I found like my Uncle Steve, Bonnie's older brother. Seriously, I found this book from his school days, and it was a note from my grandparents. And so they were like friends with Bill Clinton and stuff. Like I grew up with billionaires in my family.
Wow.
But for some, what's really interesting is my aunt's significantly close. She's the same doctor as Bill Clinton, and a lot of really, liberal friends in politics. And it's really fascinating. And out here, I'm right next to, where's that place that, what's that conservative place in the woods that everybody does that
I don't
demonic
know.
rituals?
I'm blank.
Okay, what's it called? Somebody Montgomery Woods or something? I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyways, Alex Jones, the place that Alex Jones broke into.
Bohemian Grove?
Bohemian Grove. So I'm like right next to, we're like pretty close to Bohemian Grove.
I might have heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. So it's a pretty long story short, I believe there's some liberal corruption centralized in Northern California, but I found this paperwork from my uncle's school days, and it was my grandparents saying, take this opportunity to heart. We have a lot of connections. And it was like a summer program or something. And in his notes, it was him breaking down communism. And it was saying, like, forms of population control. And it's just little notes. Like, I have the notebook. And it just kind of trips me out. You know what I mean? I could be looking too into it. But
as a positive thing?
No, I thought that, but it was breaking down like forms of population control, like starvation, and how communism,
Wow.
And it was kind of neutral, and it was just along the lines of this.
That's your grandpa's writing?
Yeah, my grandmother.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, okay.
absolutely. And so that's just long story short. I think you guys got to look into that. I think that there's a lot of media, liberal media, is entangled with liberal government, and I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I don't really have enough to prove it, but I'm just telling you from the belly of the beast, man. Bonnie has some strange friends, and she's very selfish, and she has very communist values.
Do you ever do drugs?
No, I used to. Occasionally I have like some history of mental illness, and they used to prescribe me anxiety medication. So I'm kind of stuck on my vice of pot, but I've never done hard drugs, and I refuse to do psychedelics because I just believe that's what good and evil is. Man, you take that stuff, too much, and it's not what God wants.
Yeah. So you're just doing pot.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you guys are going to hit me with that. I tell my friends they're going to tell me stop smoking pot, and you guys are right. But I'm kind of what Jesse said, like, I'm if God, you try your hardest, and God says, don't beat yourself up. Like, you really need to,
You doing Jesse's silent prayer?
Absolutely, yeah. I got it on my wallet. Well, I got the just the straight up silent prayer
Nice.
etched onto the back of this wallet, but yeah, I got it because of that.
Oh, cool.
I've been reading it every day, and you guys absolutely just saved my life, and I'm so happy that other people are picking fights, and I'm not the only one in this town, like, arguing with people. Thank you for helping young men, like, really find themselves. And
well, thank you, Eli. Thank you for the call. It's good to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, man. Sorry for not letting you talk.
No, you're fine.
Thank you.
Take care, man. And good
All right,
luck.
you too, brother.
And we'll hear from you by email and stuff.
Yeah, you definitely will.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, God bless you.
You too. Interesting. Dang. Leaving Facebook, was told Parler is racist. Join, says Fan of the Ladies. Interesting. I'm not sure. I am on Parler. I think either the Hake Report or James Anton Hake. You can probably find me. Jesse Lee Peterson is on there. He's also on Twitter, though. I say we colonize the liberal giants, though. We've colonized YouTube. Colonize for Jesus. Let me get to Adam, a first-time caller from Florida, been on hold forever. He wants to comment on the true history behind the natives, which we're natives. But Adam, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Good. Good to hear from you. What's up?
Yeah, so I was interested in that conversation you were having earlier about Columbus and everything. And we saw teepees all up and down the coast.
Right.
I think it was Magellan who came after Columbus, who did a more extensive exploration.
Okay.
But he ended up getting eaten by cannibals.
Really? I did not know that. Is that true?
Yeah. One of my old history teachers, he's always said, you know the saying, there's always room for Jell-O? You go, there's always room for Magellan.
Wow. Where was that? Do you know? What part of the New World?
I think it was on some remote island.
Okay.
He encountered some tribe.
Shameful.
But no, I wanted to talk about the Soltrians. Have you ever heard about them?
I don't recognize that name. No.
It's like Soultreans. Apparently, they were pretty much from what is modern-day France, and they were seal hunters. And when the ice cap was a lot further south than it is now, they actually could go along the coast of the iceberg hunting seals.
Dang.
And they eventually made their way over to North America, and it was about 15,000 years ago, I think, whereas the immigrants from Mongolia who came across Alaska, who are now known as Native Americans, they came about 10,000 years after them.
I take it you're an old earther.
What do you mean by that?
Because some say that the Earth is 6, 8, 10,000 years old, and you're giving me numbers bigger than that.
I believe the Earth is a lot older. I went to State University and studied geology.
We get it.
I'm a geologist.
Cool.
But on a separate note, I don't believe in the theory of Pangea. I believe the expanding Earth theory makes a lot more sense.
I'm not familiar with this expanding Earth theory. But...
Well, the current theory of the day is Pangea. You've probably heard about it. They said there was this one big continent and it all broke apart. But what I believe is that the Earth used to be smaller and more dense when it formed, and then it slowly expanded.
Okay.
So there wasn't any oceans at the beginning. It was all land, and then it expanded when the denser elements decayed into less dense elements, which would increase the volume. So it would make the Earth expand as it cooled down.
Man, I had not heard that.
Yeah, I mean, as things cool, they naturally... I mean, it depends on the different materials, but a lot of materials, they get less dense as they cool down and radioactively decay.
Look at ice. Am I right?
But, say again?
I said, look at ice.
Exactly. If ice became more dense when it cooled, then
it would sink to the bottom.
Our oceans would be full of ice.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any cool water. But since it floats to the top and, I don't know, melts.
Yeah.
But essentially, these people saying that the Native Americans were the first ones here and that the Europeans are immigrants. First of all, they weren't immigrants. They were settlers, and conquerors.
Thank you.
And pioneers.
Nice.
And heroes. The Europeans were actually over there first. They made it to the East Coast. They have fossil records of they had a technology where they used obsidian to create like super sharp spears, and you only find it in France and northeastern North America.
Wow.
But you don't find it anywhere else where like the Native Americans were. And so when they go to like, they're not allowed to actually do any DNA research because the Mongolian immigrants, who they call Indians or Native Americans, they claim that it's their people and it's sacred and you're not allowed to do any testing at all. So
okay. Yeah.
I think they kind of secretly know that they weren't actually the first ones there, but
dang.
Well,
you know what's funny is it's completely irrelevant who was first or whatever, because present day reality, right is right, you know, and we have to do
might
what's
makes right.
That too. You know, I mean, it's it's the way of the world. And I noticed that, like, the commies, I like to use the term commies, like, they come up with things that are completely off the wall and divert your attention to something that you don't even need to pay any attention to.
Well, it's like on Jesse, you played that video earlier, the KGB agent. It's a demoralization tactic.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
You weren't here first. You're the bad guys.
Right.
You were the actual immigrants. Your ancestors didn't contribute anything positive.
Right.
You have to pay everybody because you owe them. And They don't want to work, and it's just
Interesting, man.
It gets so tiresome after a while.
How old are you, if you don't mind my asking, Adam?
34.
Okay. Nice. Very interesting call. I hadn't heard a lot of that stuff before.
Yeah.
What did you call those treans? Something Seons?
Sultrians. Soultreans.
Nice.
There's a documentary on them you could probably find.
Okay.
It talks about them. They had a little boat and they'd go along the glacier and they'd camp out on the glacier and then they'd hunt for seals because they'd have these holes in the ice. The seals would come up to breathe and they'd be standing there with their advanced obsidian spears and they'd stab them in the head and eat the seals.
That's gangster. That's cool.
Yeah. So eventually they just kept going and going and going. And I think in the documentary it talked about how when the ice was kind of melting, they were camping on this one spot that kind of broke off. It like thawed a little bit, and they didn't know, but it started floating towards North America. And they kind of eventually ended up over in North America. And they were there for a while doing their thing, and then the Mongolian immigrants came over and murdered them all.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
We're opening the treasure chest, guys. Did you ever or do you believe in man-made climate change? Catastrophic.
No. I learned in geology class that the systems of the Earth are so powerful compared to anything that man could ever put a dent in that I think we're very conceited to think that we could change the environment on the planet. I mean, it's gone through heating and cooling periods over, a long time. And basically, if you have like one volcanic eruption, it puts more CO2 in the atmosphere than the entire human race does in an entire year.
Right. That's interesting, man.
And so, if you look at geological systems, they're just so massive. And to think that our cars are making it all heat up. I mean, there was an ice age not too long ago.
Right.
In geologic time. And it's like, where are all the cavemen burning coal and driving around SUVs?
And it's freezing out here in LA right now. It's in the 40s when we're...
I'm down in Florida. It's pretty warm right now.
Well, you're lucky.
I'm just down here visiting my dad. But no, I'm originally from New England, and growing up, I learned about King Philip's War, where the Indians killed about 2/3 of the entire population of New England.
Wow.
Most of them were tortured, murdered, and a lot of them were eaten.
What year? What century was that? Do you know, offhand?
I want to say it's like maybe 100 to 200 years after the Pilgrims arrived.
Because the Declaration of Independence, a 100% factual document, except for all men were created equal part.
Well, see, they only really considered Europeans people back then.
Okay.
So
I don't even agree with that though. But anyways.
No, no.
But
I agree. Equality is a false god.
Right, and now it's been completely subverted to be even worse than how they meant it, I think. But
well, that's part of the communist Marxist agenda. They want to demoralize.
But in the Declaration of Independence, they said that Indian savages had no regard for age or sickness or sex, meaning they'll kill old people, women, children, the sick. They're murderers. They were savages.
If you read up on King Philip's War, they would capture families and they would boil their children and eat them in front of their parents and then rape their parents and then kill them too.
That's vicious. Reminds me a little bit of what's going on in South Africa against the whites.
Yeah. There's a lot of hallmarks.
Yep.
But whenever people try to guilt me about white people, they murdered all the Native Americans. Anthropologists and archaeologists found that before any Europeans set foot in North America, besides the Sultrians, that there was a massive plague that wiped out 90% of the native population.
Wow. Interesting.
Like they had their own mini black plague. It wasn't mini, but it was basically a plague that devastated.
It was COVID, except it was real.
Yeah. It was like COVID year 500.
Yeah. Anyway, Adam, I got to run. Appreciate your call. Take care, man.
Yeah, no sweat. Take care.
All right. Rick from Maine, I got 1 minute with you, man. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, likewise. How you doing today?
Doing fine. How are you?
All right. Not too bad up in northern Maine today.
Nice.
Real quick, I've got to agree with some of the conversation there this morning about the Indians being here first, because my family's descent came from this area, and we've been here for hundreds of years.
Nice.
So, I'm not going to argue the point of who got here first, but I'm just saying that
Right.
my family history, past Maquaddie, Penobscot, Malamusette, Micmacs, they're all right up in the northeastern section of the country. And we've been here for years. I've seen some history on it recently, and they had some good articles about that as far as the Indian Wars and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of that. Unfortunately, some of them were taken as slaves. So.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Yeah, I mean, they just completely just smear whites endlessly and dishonestly.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Rick, I got to run. I appreciate your call. Thank you for the history.
Okay, brother.
And
Take
right
care.
on to you.
I just told Nikki about a video that I did on my channel that you guys ought to watch.
Okay.
I'll talk with you later. Take care. Have yourself a great afternoon.
What's your channel name again? Single Shot something?
Single shot exclamation point.
Single
YouTube.
Shot. Nice. Single Shot exclamation what?
Point. Exclamation point.
Okay.
My message to the millennials and earlier generations. Put
Yeah.
it that way.
Yep.
Take a look at it. Talk with you later.
Thank you, Rick. Take care. All right, guys. Appreciate the support. Thank you to Silosifer, Noah's Ark, Kansas, Hillary, and the rest of you. Appreciate the support. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse's stuff. Take care, guys.